Hi everybody, it's Annette from The Art of Intuition, and today we're going to talk about how you landed in a new reality. What are the signs you've now landed in a new reality? You have upticked quite a bit and everything is different. So how do we know that is happening? I will say, usually the first couple months of any linear year, our roles change, our soul purposes start to shift. So that's why we really can't get too attached to any role we had, anything we used to do. Sometimes we will be told, you can't do that anymore. And I just say being told, like, we just know. Now, our higher versions of us will tell us, okay, you don't have to do that anymore. You might not feel any motivation to do that anymore. And that can be kind of scary for our human aspect if it's something we've done for a while and now it's like, no, let that go. You don't have to do that anymore. You've done that enough. Now you're going to move on. You're going to do something else. So you might find that you have more of a draw to something you never had a draw to do before. All of a sudden you might find a lot of information is coming through of something you have to do. Maybe it's a book you have to write, something you have to draw, somewhere you have to be, somewhere you have to move to. Because we just don't have agreements with people in our lives. We have agreement with places too, different places we live. We have an agreement to be there for so long. So we're going to start to see that a lot of things that we have pre-planned and every reality we jump into, there's all new things we're supposed to do. So sometimes we'll just add a new role in, and then we will also continue to do all the other things we did. Now we're going to add this on too, and now we're going to do this. So there's always going to be new things we're going to do. But some of the signs that you are in a totally different place. Notice the people that are no longer there that had always been in your realities, and all of a sudden they're gone. Now they could be gone for a couple of weeks at a time, where you might have seen someone every week and now you haven't seen them for a while. Now sometimes that'll happen with certain people. For me, because my energy field is tuning to something different, and I know if they're gone for a longer period of time, then I'm upticking quicker and it's a bigger jump. So I'm jumping to a really different frequency, and it's a really big upgrade. You might also have no motivation when you're in kind of that upgrading process. You don't really want to do anything. And then you kind of hit this one day, you'll wake up, and then all of a sudden you might think of all these things you need to do that you never thought you were going to do before. And it could be anything, so don't say right away, oh, I can't do that. No, if you're getting it, you have to do it. Now, usually when I get it, I'll just start doing it, whatever it is, and I'll just start writing it out and getting all the aspects of the project done. And sometimes I know the project might not be ready to be released because I might not have the money for the project yet, but I know it's coming. So if I get all the work done ahead of time, then when the money comes, you kind of just, pay for the project, pay to get the project published, pay to whatever you have to pay for with the project, and then you're kind of done. And that's kind of different from how our human aspects would work, where they might wait, I'll wait for the money to come in. But in the higher realms, we don't work that way. We know we have to do something. If I know I have to write a book or write a children's book or whatever I agreed to do, you've agreed to do all this stuff from your highest aspect, your soul aligned agreements of what you said you were going to do, your soul purposes. And you might have said, oh, I'm supposed to write 8 books. And you're like, 8 books? Let me just get started. And there'll be some time when all this information will pour through. And how I handle that is I just write everything down, design everything I want to design, and I'll know when it's time, when the money's there for the project. I'll start researching it if I don't know much about how to publish something or how to do some of this stuff myself. So I'm gonna have to do a little research to figure out what this project's gonna entail. Then I know that I can get the creative parts of the project done, and I know it's the right vibration when the money comes. Because sometimes I might have to go through a project a couple of times because I'm still upticking different frequencies and it's not quite at the right frequency yet. So the money won't come for that project till you're at the right frequency. Till you've hit that frequency where, okay, now it's okay. Then the money will come to do the project, but the project's already done. That's how in the higher realms we can go through things very quickly, because we have kind of all the work's already been done. So we just kind of put a bow on it and send it out, which might have taken a human 5 years to do. Someone in their human consciousness, I can do it in 4 hours. And then I wait for, the right timing for it to actually be released into the world. But you will start to feel the shifts. You might see new people come in. You might have seen a person 3 years walk by you every day on the street, and you might have said hello casually, and all of a sudden that person's like, hey, meet every day, we should get coffee. And you were like, oh, that's never happened before. Because now you're in a reality where you will have some type of partnership with this person, a relationship with this person. And that very rarely that's romantic. I always like to preference that because so few of our relationships, even in our human realities, are romantic. That's a very small part of our relationships we have. But it can just be someone you meet, a friend, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, we should do this. I'm like, well, I guess we should. But in the other realities, they didn't really exist. They were just sort of a background character. And all of a sudden they're moving into being more of a main character because in this reality, they're going to play a bigger role. There's a different frequency that you've hit that now is matching a frequency they have. So look when new people come in. Now that doesn't mean everything that's going to come in is going to be, it's going to be aligned. This is where it gets a little tricky for a human. It's going to be aligned on something we're transmitting. So we have to kind of look at what we're transmitting because this also happened in our human realities. We were always upticking to something else. We'd get new people. Even if we might have been transmitting and creating a karmic reality, we were still upticking to something else. We can have karmic realities even when we're in our highest dimensions of aspects of us. We just start to recognize the karmic realities. We recognize where we're coming from when we start the reality, where someone else is coming from when we start the reality. But sometimes we have to kind of look at what's in front of us. Look at what's coming in. Look at what you feel like you need to do. Look at the different, as I look around my house, look at different things around your house that might look like they're changing. All of a sudden the space might feel smaller. You might notice things that are vibrationally off that you didn't notice before. It just doesn't look quite right. You might want to move the furniture. You might want to paint. You might want to get a bird feeder. You might want to clean up the deck or power wash the deck. Different things before that never bothered you that all of a sudden feel vibrationally off because you're now at a different vibration and the surroundings aren't supporting you anymore. So you need to look, and don't be too sad about the people who aren't in this new timeline with you, this new uptick with you, this new reality with you. If they're meant to be there, they'll come back in a different aspect. If they're not, then we have to kind of let that go because that doesn't mean they might not show up in the next uptick you do. No one's ever truly gone, not in the energies we're in now. So don't try to grab on to someone who used to be there. Let everyone kind of play out their realities the way they have decided and agreed to play out their realities and just keep going on with yours. But start noticing what feels right, what doesn't feel right anymore. You might be in a phase where you've been inside a lot the last couple of years. It was a big internal phase for a lot of people just due to what was going on planetarily with all the collectives. And all of a sudden you might feel like, oh, now I've got to be out in the community again. I know that's one thing I've felt because I haven't really been doing it the last couple of years, but now I know I've got to get back out in the community again. And that's one of the new roles I have to go do again, where I hadn't done that for a while. I was doing more virtual things and now it's time to get back out there again. And we kind of know when we're in these different shifts. So just look at what's around, look at who's around, look at who's not around. That's going to tell you a lot, especially if they were a aspect of you that was a more human aspect of you and all of a sudden they're not there anymore. Or you might have had to complete one certain project and then all of a sudden some of these people might trickle back in again, but they'll be in a different vibration. You might not see them as much. Your realities are going to be aligning during these phases to your next highest reality. That didn't make any sense. Let me try that one again. Everything's kind of rearranging to support your next highest aligned reality. So people are coming in, people are going out. You might feel like you're supposed to move. You might feel like you're supposed to buy a new car because your old car can't take you to where you need to go anymore. You might find a car gets gifted to you because maybe in this new reality you have to drive more. You might have to change gyms. It can be the smallest thing, but everything's going to be aligning in these phases to get you to your next. It's kind of pre-planning everything. It's kind of like it's like a play. It's kind of like the rehearsal. It's almost like that fun. The curtain hasn't gone up yet, but everything's kind of moving around. Everyone's kind of practicing coming in, seeing how everyone reacts with everyone else. That's why you might have someone say, oh, we should get coffee, but you might not hear from them for a while because we're not quite ready to get coffee yet, but oh, we're going to get coffee at some point. It's just not quite ready yet. So just don't fight what's not there. Embrace what is there. And even if you're not seeing a lot of new stuff yet, just know everything is rearranging for you. Your universe is always going to, which is just you. Your universe is just higher aspects of you getting you in the place with what you're going to require for your next reality. It's moving people around, moving things around. So notice what feels off. Notice what feels right. Don't cling to what feels off, even if you've done it for the last 5 years. If it doesn't feel right anymore, there's a reason for that. And keep practicing the art of intuition.